Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Lisa here with Jen, and welcome to our first Q&A. I've got everything jotted down here, kind of abbreviated, so if we have to, we'll break this into two videos, because the first one is going to be just, I guess, the story of Jen and I. You guys have some questions about that, and then the second one will be like random stuff, but we can fit it in, we will. So, anyways, right. I guess start with Jen and I have been together for, let's see.
We met in 2001,
yeah.
June of 2001
yeah.
in Florida.
So it's going on 19 years. We'll start with that. And we've been married. We just been married 5 years. But we'll kind of go all the way back in time, back when I went to culinary school in New York. As you want to know, I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. And when I graduated, I took a job at the Four Seasons in Palm Beach, Florida. So that moved me to Florida back in February of 2001. And I met Jen in June.
Yeah, so she wasn't there very long.
Yeah.
I was living in Florida since
and tell them what you
1997. I went to Florida to go to school.
It's Saturday, so we're having
we're relaxing. I worked all day, so I deserve to relax.
So tell them what you do, and then I'll let you start the story of how we met.
Well, I moved to Florida, so I go to physical therapy assistant school in 97, and I graduated in 2000. And then in 2001, Lisa actually met a mutual friend of mine about a week before we met each other. And so I went that night to a club, and she actually went to meet a friend.
I met Jen exactly how I said I was not going to meet someone, which was in a club.
And she was supposed to meet up with a friend, but back in those days, cell phones weren't as common as they were now. And she couldn't find the friend she was meeting up with, so she said, well, I'm not coming all the way downtown to not have a good night. So she went back to the club where she met a friend of mine a week earlier. And I happened to be hanging out with her that evening. And she knew we were both single. And so she had a big, bright idea that we should start to talk.
Everybody kept on telling Jen, go get her number, go talk to her. And I was so uninterested. Jen was so not my type.
Talk to her.
Yeah.
And she could tell some weirdness was going on, and she just got up and left. And I just sat there going, okay, well, now what do I do? And then one friend of mine said, everybody was being crazy. It was all uncomfortable. How would you feel if you were her? And I said, you know what, you're right. Let me see if I can go find her. I said, I'll go in and talk to her, and we'll see what happens. And so I found her at the bar, and I walked up, and I started talking to her. And I asked her if she ever wanted to go out sometime, and she said yes.
No, you asked me if I wanted a beer.
Oh, I thought that was afterwards. I didn't know if that was the first thing I said.
Oh, I don't know.
And so she gives me her number, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she says yes. She gives me her number, and since she's at the bar, I just assumed, would you like a drink? And she says no. And
I wasn't a big drinker.
And I wasn't really sure where to go from there because I was already so happy I got her number, kind of shocked at the same time. I've never asked anyone out of my life. Now I'm so nervous that I'm going to mess everything up. I actually just wanted to get out of there. And when she said no to the drink, that made me even more nervous for some reason.
All right, well, let's fast forward. So, anyways, we had our first date and at the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
We sat down. We got there first thing because I had to work that afternoon. Yeah, we went for lunch early, though, like 11 o'clock or something. There was no one in there. But we were just so into talking with each other. I mean, the place ended up being packed. And
we were the first to sit down, and we noticed nothing until we left, and the place was jam-packed. And she went to work, and I left, and I said, wow, this was amazing. Like, I could tell this meant something. This was good. I felt amazing about this, you know?
So we dated for a while, and I said I wasn't going to move in with anybody until...
you gave me a year. She said, she told me early on in the relationship she didn't want to move in with anyone.
Yeah, unless it was real serious.
Serious, right.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I want to know how we know, like, each other was the one. And for me, it was weird. It's the only time I feel like something talked to me. But I looked in the mirror and something just spoke to me and said, this is the one. And, well, anyways.
Well, and my experience was when we had met.
She hasn't gotten rid of me yet.
2 weeks into our relationship, I was actually planning to move back to New York, and we had just met. And I went up there looking for jobs. I had already planned this trip, and I put in a few applications. I got a couple of callbacks for the jobs. I came back to Florida, and I never responded to any of those jobs after that. I just stayed in Florida because I said, I can't believe I've met somebody. This feels for real. I am not about to get up and leave and go back to New York, which is where I came from originally. And I stayed put in Florida.
So after a year, then Jenn surprised me with this ring. She's Irish. The Claddagh ring.
That's a Claddagh ring.
She had it made, and someone wanted to know about the finger, because I wear it on my middle finger. Well, why is it on my middle finger?
Well, she has smaller hands than me, so I guessed, because I didn't want her to know it was coming, what size her finger would be. And I miscalculated because it was too big for her ring finger, and she ended up wearing it on her middle.
So we said, well, that's good, because if we decided to get matching wedding rings, then I'll just keep it on this finger. But we ended up getting matching watches, so
we got these instead.
Yeah. But
and that's our wedding bands, actually, is our watches.
But yeah, so I wear this on this finger, it's been on this finger. And
it looks good on that finger.
It does.
I like it there.
So anyways, fast forward then, kids. So Jenn's 6 years older than me, so at the time she was itching to start a family, and
well, I was 36 when we had our first child.
Yeah.
And so I was going to go first because I was 6 years older, and Lisa was going to go second because she's younger.
Yeah.
However, that's not how it turned out.
Jenn carried all three girls, and
she's not a good patient.
No, I know. Jenn, we had Mackenzie first, and so we picked a donor that had pretty much all the same characteristics as me.
We picked a man who had wavy brown hair, medium brown.
Yeah, brown
had
eyes.
No freckles.
Yeah.
No dimples. Just very similar features to Lisa.
I think we did pretty good because it's really hard to tell. You know.
They all have the same donor.
Yeah.
And most people we talk to find so much resemblance between the children and Lisa. It's unbelievable. So I think we did a great job in picking the donor. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's look at some of the cards. Well, we got married here in South Carolina. We didn't want to get married because in a state that didn't recognize it because we were in Florida at the time. When we moved to South Carolina,
the laws were all starting to change around that time. So
when they finally made it legal, we married in South Carolina. So we hit 5 years that we've been married, and we were in debates of having a wedding. We thought maybe it'd be cute, have the girls as like little flower girls or whatever. But in all honesty, Jenn and I are just so simple. We looked into it. I was like,
we started getting the funds and looking at how much it was going to cost, and thought, wow, that money could be.
We didn't really need it, so we didn't have a wedding. We didn't even take a honeymoon.
No, we just take a lot of trips.
So we take trips. Those are the things that we do for each other. But let's see. Well, maybe we can answer a couple other questions here. Babe.
Well, read the first one and we'll just go from there.
Okay, well, they're not in any order.
Okay, very random now.
Yeah. So, okay, how did I get into cooking? Well, I guess we can start with that. And why did we move from raw food? So anyways, I've always loved cooking. That's why I went to culinary school. I've only been in food and beverage. I've done private chef work. I've worked as a server, bartender. I've worked in catering, you name it, hotels, restaurants. I've only done food and beverage. The reason why I started the YouTube channel was actually, we got into raw foods, is Jenn went to a doctor's visit and she got blood work done and her cholesterol was somehow really high.
I have very high cholesterol.
And they wanted to put her on medicine, and I thought, I'm not one to believe in medication. I think that there's
we're not an
underlying cause and that you can fix it through naturally.
Food.
So I started looking into it. I had no idea where to even begin. I started finding out, what foods don't have cholesterol in it, and fruits and vegetables. So long story short, I got interested in the raw foods just really as a way, like, let's try to incorporate a lot more of that and see if that helps with lowering your cholesterol. Well, long story short, Jen, we did that. We just started having more smoothies, eating more salads, just anything, that that didn't have cholesterol. We eliminated dairy and a lot of animal products. And after 3 months, Jen's cholesterol lowered significantly. And we started really feeling really good. We didn't really have that many ailments to say, oh, this went away, that went away.
Yeah, my cholesterol was about 230 something, which is not even the most ridiculously high cholesterol. And in 3 months, it dropped to 197 and under the 200 mark, according to whatever my other numbers were. She said, you don't need medicine if you can keep it this low.
So Jen didn't have to take medicine. And my eyes, surprisingly enough, have gotten way better year after year after switching to a high plant-based diet. But I started the YouTube channel Raw Food for Kids back then because we started getting into it. And to be honest with you, I guess as a chef, I look at other different channels and I'm like, there's not that much out there. Like, where do you begin? When something is new, you just want to research it and you want some ideas. You want stuff to eat more than salads or some raw vegetables. So I didn't find that much, and I thought, you know what, this is going to be fun.
This is a great project for her.
I'll do a channel. I'm home with the kids. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I'll just start doing some recording. Well, back then I didn't even know how to edit or do anything like that. But you can check some of those old videos out, and they are fun. There's some good food, but.
Plus, our kids ate so many vegetables and fruit as children, and people were like, how do you do it?
Someone wanted to know how do we get our kids to eat so healthy, and so
we eat it.
You have to do it first of all and set the example, and just a gradual process. If you're coming from a child that might not have eaten that much healthy stuff, just slowly find things they might like, or make it fun, put it in a little bento box. Let them prepare it. Try to find it.
Let them pick the ones out they want, and they're involved.
Yeah,
they decide.
Try to eat it first. Have things prepped up on hand, but
we cut it up fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have to end this. I film on my phone, and sadly, it does not like it if I go over a certain amount. The $2 a day challenge. Let's see if I can do that. So that started because I did it 3 years ago. I did a how to live on $2 a day. And I was inspired because I find that a lot of people that are on a budget have a hard time eating healthier foods. And I find that we waste a lot of foods and people eat processed stuff. And so I did that for a week. And it's a little more challenging when you're just buying something for a week. And I did it, and we made great food, and we survived, and it's quite doable. But really what I wanted to show people is you need to make it more of a lifestyle. I wanted to show you guys into my life what I'm doing, because you can watch someone do something, but you don't get the full effect. There's just so many things that you could be doing to save money and eat better and to not waste. We throw away so much food in this country, and I'm a big fan of just use up your food and buy things on sale. Why if I pay $10 for something if you could pay $5 for it? And so anyways, I've been itching to want to do something that was a little more long-term so that people could really follow along and hopefully get inspired and learn different tips and tricks and see how it can be done. Because what's that phrase with the fishing, teach a man or
if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So
there you go. So it's you gotta put it into practice and action and stuff like that. But anyways, we got a few more questions here. I'm gonna end it here, part one, and Jen and I'll answer all these other random ones. I'm gonna cross off and get a little more organized here, and so we will catch you in a few.
All right, take care.